Hello and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Emma's Eyecatchers in association with Boyle Sports. In this week's episode, I'm going to try and find 5 Gordon Elliott horses who might be flying under the radar on the build-up to the Cheltenham Festival. Fil Dor was one of those high-profile Caldwell construction horses who changed hands a couple of weeks ago for big money, 620,000, but stayed in the care of Gordon Elliott at Cullinshaw House and definitely has boosted a very strong Rob Corps team for the Cheltenham Festival. He's heading to the Ryanair and I think he's actually got a great chance at double figure odds. Looking back on his novice chasing campaign, I suppose it's easy to describe as messy. He ran in a Grade 1 novice at Christmas and that seems to be in the root of his problems over fences. Made a bad mistake at the 5th there and I think confidence was totally knocked. You saw him running next time then behind El Fabiola. He was jumping very high and very slow. But they gave him a break over fences then, brought him back over the bigger obstacles this year. Only a 6-year-old, should have plenty of improvement. And I think his 2 runs so far this season have really... It's hard not to be, I suppose, filled with confidence about what he could maybe do over fences. How he jumped was probably a major concern. But you saw him in the Barberstown Castle earlier on in the season behind Dino Blue. He maybe jumped a little bit high early on, but warmed into it lovely and gave Dino Blue a good race. She's a leading contender for the Mayor's Chase, and he was conceding £7 to her that day, so that was strong form. Went to the Hilly Way then in Cork, and a lovely run again behind El Fabiola. Saw his race out lovely, and his jumping was pretty solid in my eyes. I think having those 2 good runs in graded contests over 2 miles, that's a real test of his jumping, and it should have given him confidence. He's been freshened up since the Hilly Way, heading to Ryanair. A fresh horse, it's an open contest and I find it very hard to rule him out. Gordon cut his claw with Martin Pipe back in the day and he likes to target the Martin Pipe hurdle, which is the last race of the week at Cheltenham. He's won it 2 years in a row back in 2017 and 2018. Has a strong team entered again this season. But I think maybe a standout for him in there is Better Days Ahead in the Bective stud colours. He's been given £4 by the BHA handicapper, which brings his mark up to around the 140, which is in and around where you'd want to be in the Martin Pipe. I think the last few winners have come from the mid 130 to mid 140 range, so he kind of fits that profile nicely. He's a young, progressive, up-and-coming horse, was a good bumper horse last year, unlucky to fall on first start this season when looking like a likely winner in Down Royal. Has gone on since, won his maiden hurdle. I thought the standout of his form was probably that run behind Slade Steele in that Grade 2 contest at Navan. I thought he could have been a little bit closer to the winner, despite, if not having a bad mistake at the last that day. So I thought that was a really good run. Was beaten next time by supreme novice contender Asian Master. He was conceding £15 to him that day over an inadequate 2 miles as well though. So I think stepping back up and trip to the 2.5, bit of a test of stamina, should suit him. And I think with the likes of a Danny Gilligan or one of those other good young lads in Gordon's chalked up, I'd give him a real big chance in the Martin Pipe. Would have been hard for me to do this video without including the one who Gordon said himself was flying under the radar for the Cheltenham Festival, and that is of course the Yellow Clay, who runs in the Bective stud colours. He was a dual bumper winner last year as a 4-year-old in 2nd seasons of bumpers this year. I think the plan originally was to go hurdling, but he got a kick I think before making his maiden hurdle debut, so decided to stick to bumpers this year, and might be no harm because I'd say he goes to the champion bumper with a good shout. He's only had 1 run so far this year, and that was in the Future Stars bumper at the DRF. Hard to say he would have beaten the winner that day, but had absolutely no luck in running. Lost his position completely. Would have been easy to see him drop out the back of the screen, but came with a massive run to finish off his race really well. At very least, I think he would have been a good second, and hard to deny how eye-catching that run was. Gordon said despite having the current favourite for the champion bumper, Jalan Dadaris, he actually wouldn't be surprised to see Jack stick on the Yellow Clay come the Wednesday of Cheltenham. So definitely one to keep in the notebooks, and will be interesting to see how he gets on in that bumper. With all the talk around the Mullins horses at the Cheltenham Festival, maybe it's being slightly forgotten about that Firefox did actually beat Ballyburn in what's considered to be probably the best maiden hurdle run this year in Ireland. That was in Fairyhouse, of course, and now while admittedly Ballyburn surely has improved since then, and Firefox probably did get the run of the race, it might be dangerous to totally rule Gordon Elliott's Firefox out of the Supreme Novice. Gordon has won this race in the past with the likes of LeBake. He said recently he's gone close in this race with lesser horses than Firefox. He really thinks a lot about this horse. He was a really good bumper horse, beat the likes of Il Atlantique in that sphere. Progressed into hurdling well, beating Ballyburn that day is undeniably strong form. The worry with him is that disappointing run last time in the Lawlers of Naas. Gordon did say he was found to be lame afterwards, which is an excusable reason for such a poor performance, but the stats will be against Gordon's horse on the run-up to the Supreme. I think 11 of the last 12 Supreme Novice winners have won on their last start on the run-up to Cheltenham. Although Gordon did break that trend with LeBake before, he is the 1 out of 12. It's slightly different circumstances. Firefox does have a bit to prove here, but a very, very good horse in his day. And if Ballyburn is a good thing, Firefox must be a bit of a dark horse. With Quixilios now emerging as maybe one of the more fancied hopes for the Arkle, it's kind of hard not to give Gordon Elliott Safu a really good chance in whichever festival handicap he shows up for. He's entered for both the Grand Annual and the Plate. He's been giving a BHA rating of 145 after just three chase starts. He fell first time out behind Facile Vega. He was admittedly a fortunate winner next time when Hunter's Yarn came down, but he had a good battle then next time behind Quixilios at Naas, which looks like really good form now. Mr. Policeman was behind them in third that day, came out and boosted that form. Next time we're winning at Punchestown. I think Gordon Elliott's 7-year-old kind of has the profile of a horse maybe who could be anything, and a mark of 145 could still be workable. He's got form over 2 and 2.5 miles. I think whichever race he shows up for, he'll be really, really interesting and probably one to keep an eye on. So those are my 5 flying under the radar from Cullenshaw House Stables. If you've anything to add, let me know in the comments below. If you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe because we've got some great Cheltenham stuff coming up over the next week.